I'm writing this from a hotel room because I genuinely do not feel safe in my own house right now. My hands are shaking so badly that I'm having trouble hitting the right keys, so please forgive any typos. I need to get this all down while it's fresh, and I need a sanity check because my phone has been blowing up for 6 hours straight with people telling me I'm a greedy, heartless B-word who is tearing a grieving family apart. Let me give you the background. My husband, let's call him Mark, is the classic scapegoat of his family. He is kind, brilliant, hardworking, and tragically desperate for his mother's approval. His mother, Linda, is a textbook narcissist. She's the kind of woman who wears white to weddings and faints at baby showers to get the attention back on herself. Then there is the brother, Tyler, the golden child. Tyler is 26 years old. He has never held a job for longer than 3 months. He has anxiety that prevents him from working, but curiously, it does not prevent him from gaming for 16 hours a day, smoking enough weed to sedate a horse, or demanding Mark pay for his car insurance. Linda has spent her entire life shielding Tyler from consequences and demanding Mark sacrifice his happiness to keep Tyler comfortable. Here is the situation. Mark's paternal grandmother, Nana Rose, passed away 2 weeks ago. She was the only person in that family who truly loved Mark. She despised Linda. She saw right through her. When Mark and I got married, Nana Rose pulled me aside, gripped my hand with her surprisingly strong grip, and whispered, "Look after him. Those vultures will pick his bones clean if you let them." God, she was right. Nana Rose had a substantial estate. We're talking a fully paid-off historic farmhouse on 80 acres of prime land, plus a portfolio of stocks. We knew she had money, but we never asked, and we never cared. We just loved her. After the funeral, which Linda tried to turn into her own personal tragedy theater, despite hating the woman, Linda told us that she was the executor of the estate. She said that since Nana didn't have a formal will update in years, the state was going to take 40% unless we acted fast. This set off alarm bells for me immediately. I work in contract law. I'm not an estate attorney, but I know how the legal system works, and I know that the state taking 40% sounded like scaremongering nonsense. But Mark, poor Mark was grieving. He was in the fog. Fear, obligation, guilt. He just wanted to help his mom. He just wanted the pain to stop. Yesterday, Linda summoned us to her house. She said, "Come over for dinner. I made Mark's favorite lasagna. We just need to sign a few teeny tiny papers to get the probate ball rolling and save the family money." We get there. The atmosphere is weird. Tyler is sitting at the kitchen table, smirking. He's not playing games for once. He's just sitting there, watching us like a cat watching a mousetrap. Linda is frantic, bustling around, pouring wine, being overly affectionate. "Eat, eat," she says. She waits until Mark is halfway through a glass of wine and feeling a bit more relaxed. Then, she drops a heavy manila envelope on the table. "Okay, honey," she says to Mark, putting a pen in his hand. "These are just standard affidavits. Acknowledgement of debt, funeral costs, that sort of boring stuff. Just sign on the sticky notes I put there and we can get back to dessert." Mark sighs, rubs his eyes, and uncaps the pen. "Okay, Mom. Whatever helps." He goes to sign. "Wait." I put my hand over the paper. The room goes deadly silent. You could hear the refrigerator humming. Linda's smile twitches. "Oh, P, honey, don't be dramatic. It's just paperwork." Mark trusts his mother. Mark trusts you, Linda. But I read everything before we sign it. That's the rule. I pull the stack of papers toward me. Linda actually tries to snatch them back. "It's legal jargon. You won't understand it." I ignore her. I start flipping through. The first few pages are normal. Funeral home invoice. A utility bill transfer. Boring. Then I get to the fourth document. It wasn't a tax form. It wasn't a probate affidavit. It was a quitclaim deed and a waiver of beneficiary rights. I read the text, and my blood ran cold. It stated that Mark, as the primary beneficiary of the Rose Trust, was voluntarily waiving his rights to the entire inheritance, the farm, the land, the stocks, everything, and transferring sole ownership to Tyler. I looked up. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard it hurt. I looked at Linda. She wasn't smiling anymore. She looked predatory. "Mark," I said, keeping my voice very, very calm, Did you know your grandmother left everything to you? Specifically you? Mark looked up, confused. What? No. Mom said she died intestate, that it was all getting split up. I held up the document. This is a waiver, Mark. Your mother is trying to get you to sign your entire inheritance over to Tyler. Nana Rose left you everything. Millions of dollars. And Linda hid the will, and now she's trying to trick you into giving it to your brother. The explosion was instantaneous. Linda screeched. I mean, she actually screeched like a banshee. You snooping bitch! Give that back! It's family business! You have no right! Tyler slammed his fist on the table. You always get everything, Mark. You have a job. You have a wife. I have nothing. Nana promised it to me. Nana despised you, Tyler, I yelled back. I couldn't help it. She knew you'd snort the equity up your nose in a year. Mark was just sitting there, white as a sheet. He looked at the document. He looked at his mother. Mom, you said this was for funeral costs. You looked me in the eye. Linda switched tactics instantly. She started sobbing. I did it for the family. Tyler needs help. You're so selfish, Mark. You have so much, and you won't even share with your baby brother. How can you be so greedy? I stood up. I grabbed the entire stack of papers, including the hidden will that was clipped to the back of the stack, which I hadn't even noticed at first, and I grabbed Mark's arm. We are leaving. Now. You can't take those. That's theft, Linda screamed, lunging at me. I dodged her. Touch me, Linda, and I swear to God I will call the police and have you arrested for fraud and assault. Try me. We ran out to the car. Linda chased us into the driveway, screaming that I was a gold digger, that I was manipulating Mark, that I was ruining the family. Tyler was standing in the doorway, flipping us off. I drove. Mark didn't speak for 20 minutes. He just stared out the window, shivering. When we finally got onto the highway, he let out this sound, this gut-wrenching sob. She lied to me. She was going to steal it all, OP. She was going to let me sign it away while I was eating her lasagna. We checked into a hotel because I don't trust them not to come to our house. Since we left, Linda has created a group chat with Mark's aunts, uncles, and cousins. She has spun a story that I'm trying to steal the inheritance from her, the grieving widow/mother figure, and that I assaulted her. My phone is full of texts calling me a monster. Mark has turned his phone off. He is currently sitting on the edge of the hotel bed, staring at the wall. I have the papers. I have the proof, but I don't know what to do next. Mark is broken. I'm terrified they're going to show up here. I just needed to say this out loud to someone. Am I crazy? Did I overreact by taking the papers? Time passed since last post. 4 days. I honestly didn't think I would be posting an update this soon, but the situation has escalated so fast that my head is spinning. Thank you to everyone who commented on the last post. To those of you who told me to get a lawyer immediately, we did. And to those of you who said Linda's behavior sounded criminal, well, you have no idea. Here is where we stand. For the first 24 hours after fleeing Linda's house, Mark was catatonic. I mean that literally. He sat in the hotel room chair, staring at the muted TV, not eating, not sleeping. Every time his phone buzzed, he flinched like he'd been struck. It was heartbreaking to watch the man I love crumble because the one person who was supposed to protect him, his mother, tried to rob him blind. On Tuesday morning, I took the day off work. I told Mark, we are going to read these documents. We need to know exactly what she was trying to do. We sat on the hotel bed and spread the papers out. It was even worse than I thought. The document I stopped him from signing wasn't just a waiver. It was a document authorizing the executor, Linda, to liquidate all assets in the estate and transfer the cash value into a joint account held by Linda and Tyler for the purpose of managing estate debts. Debts my ass. Nana Rose had zero debt. She paid cash for everything. But the real smoking gun was the will I swiped from the back of the stack. It was dated 3 years ago. It was drafted by a very prestigious firm in the city, and in bold, clear letters it stated, I leave 100% of my estate, including real property and financial assets, to my grandson Mark, last name, to be held in a trust to ensure its longevity. I intentionally make no provision for my daughter-in-law Linda or my grandson Tyler, for reasons known to them. Reasons known to them. Nana Rose was a savage. We Googled the law firm stamped on the will. We got an emergency appointment that same afternoon because as soon as I mentioned Nana Rosa's name to the receptionist, she gasped. "Oh my God, we have been trying to reach Mr. for 2 weeks." Here comes the rage-inducing part. We get to the lawyer's office. Let's call him Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson is this terrifyingly competent older man in a three-piece suit. He sits us down and tells us that he had sent 3 certified letters to our address informing Mark of the inheritance and the reading of the will. Mark looked confused. "We never got any letters." Mr. Henderson pulled up a tracking number. "They were signed for." He spun his monitor around. We leaned in. The signature on the receipt wasn't Mark's. It was a scribbly, chaotic scrawl that looked suspiciously like M, last name. Mark went pale. That's not my signature. That looks like Tyler's handwriting." So, not only did they try to trick Mark into signing his rights away, but Tyler had been driving to our house while we were at work, intercepting our mail, and forging Mark's signature to hide the fact that the lawyers were trying to contact us. That is a felony. That is federal mail fraud. Mr. Henderson looked at us over his glasses and said, quite calmly, "This changes everything. I am now advising you that we are moving from probate administration to criminal litigation. Do not speak to your mother. Do not speak to your brother. Direct all communication to me." We left the office feeling a mix of vindication and nausea. But of course, the narcissist never goes down without a fight. When we turned our phones back on, the flying monkeys had arrived. Linda had not been idle. She had called every aunt, uncle, and cousin in the family tree. She told them a completely different story. According to the family grapevine, I, the evil wife, had physically attacked Linda, pushed her into a wall, and stolen sentimental family documents because I wanted to sell the farm and put Mark in a nursing home. He's 30? My phone was flooded. "OP, how dare you hurt Linda? She is a grieving widow." Aunt Sarah. "Mark, you need to control your wife. Police have been called." Cousin Brad. "Give the papers back or we will come get them." Tyler. That text from Tyler made my blood boil. "Come get them." A threat. Mark finally spoke. He looked at the phone, his face hardening. The sadness was evaporating, replaced by a cold, hard anger I have never seen in him before. He typed out one message to the family group chat. "Linda tried to trick me into signing away Nana's estate to Tyler. We have the real will. We know Tyler forged my signature to steal certified mail from my lawyer. If anyone contacts us again, you will be hearing from our attorney. We are done." Then he left the group chat and blocked them all. I thought that would buy us some silence. I was wrong. Yesterday, we went back to our house just to grab more clothes. We were there for maybe 10 minutes. I was packing a suitcase in the bedroom when I heard tires screech in the driveway. I looked out the window. It was Linda's SUV, and she wasn't alone. Tyler was with her, and so was her brother, Uncle Jerry, a man who has spent more time in county jail than out of it. They were pounding on the front door. "Mark, open this damn door! Mark!" I screamed at Mark to lock the back door. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my phone trying to dial 911. "I know you're in there," Linda screamed. "You ungrateful little brat! Open the door!" Then, I heard glass shatter. Tyler had thrown a landscaping brick through the living room window. We locked ourselves in the master bathroom. I was on the line with the 911 dispatcher, whispering that there were intruders breaking in. Mark was holding a baseball bat standing in front of me, his eyes wide and terrified but ready to swing. We could hear them in the living room. "Find the papers, Tyler! Check the office!" Linda was yelling. She was tearing our house apart. We could hear furniture being overturned, bookshelves crashing down. It sounded like a riot. The police sirens started wailing in the distance. Thank God we live only 5 minutes from the station. The noise in the living room stopped abruptly. "Cops!" Tyler yelled. "Ma, the cops!" "Run!" Linda shrieked. We heard the back door slam. By the time the police kicked in our front door, Linda, Tyler, and Jerry were gone. But they had left a path of destruction behind them. Our living room was trashed. The TV was smashed. But here is the kicker. Here is the detail that is going to bury them. In their panic to find the stolen documents, Tyler must have dropped his phone. It was lying on the floor amidst the shattered glass of the window he broke. The police bagged it as evidence. But before they did, I saw the screen light up with a notification. It was a text from Linda. Don't worry, honey. Once we get the signature, we can sell the land to that developer for the cash offer, and nobody will ever know about the trust. We just need to scare him." The police officer looked at the text. He looked at the smashed window. He looked at us. "Do you want to press charges?" he asked. Mark didn't hesitate this time. He didn't look at me for reassurance. He looked the officer dead in the eye. "Yes, I want to press charges for everything. Breaking and entering, vandalism, attempted theft, and I want a restraining order. The police are currently out looking for them. A warrant has been issued for Tyler's arrest for the B&E, and they want to bring Linda in for questioning regarding the fraud. We are back at the hotel. We are not safe at home. Mark is sitting on the bed again, but he's not crying. He's reading Nana Rose's will over and over again, specifically the part where she wrote she loved him. I think the war has officially begun. I don't know what they're going to do when they get arrested, but I know Linda. She won't go quietly. Time passed since last update. 3 weeks. I am writing this from the living room of Nana Rose's farmhouse. The locks have been changed, the security system has been upgraded to something that rivals Fort Knox, and there is a squad car parked at the end of the long driveway. It is finally quiet. But the last 3 weeks have been the loudest, ugliest, most terrifying weeks of my life. I told you guys that Linda wouldn't go down without a fight. I was right. But I didn't expect her to go down in flames quite like this. Let's backtrack. About 6 hours after my last update, at 2 a.m., my phone rang. It was the detective. They had picked them up. They found Linda and Tyler at a 24-hour diner 3 towns over. Apparently, they were arguing so loudly about whose fault it was that the waitress called the cops on them for a disturbance. When the officers ran their plates, the B&E warrant popped up. The irony is delicious. They got caught because they couldn't stop screaming at each other for 5 minutes. The next morning, we met with our lawyer, Mr. Henderson, and the district attorney. Because Tyler's phone was left at the crime scene, our house, the police had a field day. I cannot stress this enough. Tyler is an idiot. He didn't just have texts about the B&E. He had texts going back 6 months detailing a conspiracy to defraud the estate. Linda, don't worry about the nursing home bills. Once the old hag kicks the bucket, we sell the land to the developers. I already talked to the agent. Tyler, I need $5,000 now, Mom. The guys are asking. Linda, take it from her checkbook. Just practice the signature like we did last time. They weren't just planning to steal the inheritance. They had been forging Nana Rose's checks for months while she was on her deathbed. The forensic accounting revealed that Linda had drained nearly $40,000 from Nana's checking account to pay for Tyler's online gambling debts and her own Neiman Marcus credit card bills. This wasn't just family drama anymore. This was elder abuse, grand larceny, wire fraud, forgery. Mark sat in that conference room listening to the detective read the texts, and I saw the last tiny piece of love he had for his mother die. It didn't wither. It was murdered. The arraignment. 3 days later was the arraignment. We didn't have to go, but Mark wanted to. He needed to see them in cuffs. We sat in the back row. Linda was brought in first. She wasn't wearing her usual designer clothes. She was in an orange jumpsuit. And oh my God, the performance she put on. She shuffled in, hunched over like she was 90 years old. She was trembling. She looked at the judge with big, watery eyes. "Your Honor, I don't understand. I'm a mother. I was just trying to get my family's papers. My son, he's confused. He's being manipulated by his wife." She actually pointed a shaking finger at me in the back of the room. The judge, God bless this woman, was not having it. She looked at the police report. She looked at the list of charges. "Mrs., you are charged with breaking and entering, malicious destruction of property, and fraud. You threw a brick through your son's window. Do not pretend to be a feeble old woman in my courtroom." Linda's act dropped instantly. Her face contorted into that familiar scowl. The bail was set high. Linda managed to post it by leveraging her own house, which, ironically, she might lose now. Tyler couldn't post bail. He's still sitting in county jail. And here is where the prisoner's dilemma kicked in. Tyler flipped. Within 48 hours of being locked up without his weed and his video games, Tyler called the DA. He offered to testify against Linda in exchange for a plea deal on the fraud charges. He told them everything. Where Linda hid the stolen jewelry, the fake notary stamp she bought online, everything. The climax. We thought that was it. We thought Linda would retreat to lick her wounds. We were wrong. This brings us to last Tuesday. Mark and I were at the farmhouse. We had just gotten the keys from the executor lawyer. We were doing a walkthrough, documenting the inventory. It was a beautiful day. The sun was setting over the fields. Then, we saw dust kicking up on the dirt road. A car roared up the driveway. It wasn't Linda's SUV, which was impounded. It was a rental car. Linda got out. But she wasn't alone. She had brought 2 men with her, guys who looked like movers. She marched up to the porch where we were standing. She looked manic. Her hair was wild. Her eyes were bloodshot. She was holding a piece of paper. "Get off my property!" Mark stepped in front of me. "Mom, you're violating the restraining order. Leave, now." "This isn't your house!" she shrieked, waving the paper. "I am the executor. I have the power. I hired these men to clear out the junk. You are trespassing." She turned to the movers. "Break the door down if you have to. Get everything out." The movers looked at Mark. Mark is 6 feet 2 inches and looked ready to kill. They looked at Linda, who was foaming at the mouth. One of the movers put his hands up. "Lady, you said this was an eviction."
"This looks like a domestic. We're out." They got back in their truck and left. Linda stood there alone on the gravel. The sun was going down, casting long shadows. She looked small, but she was vibrating with rage. "You think you won, Mark? You think you can take this from me? I gave you life. I can take it away." She reached into her oversized purse. My heart stopped. I thought she had a gun. She pulled out a lighter and a bottle of lighter fluid. "If I can't have it," she screamed, "nobody can." She turned and ran toward the old wooden barn, Nana's pride and joy, filled with antique farm equipment and dry hay. "Stop her!" Mark yelled. We sprinted off the porch. Mark tackled her just as she was trying to spray the lighter fluid onto the dry wood of the barn wall. They hit the dirt. Linda fought like a wild animal. She was scratching his face, biting his arm, screaming obscenities that I can't even repeat. "Let go of me! I hate you! I hate you!" I managed to kick the lighter away and grabbed her purse. I sat on her legs while Mark pinned her arms. "Call 911!" Mark shouted, breathless, blood trickling down his cheek where she scratched him. I called. We held her down for 12 minutes until the police arrived. She screamed the entire time. She screamed that Mark was the devil. She screamed that Nana Rose was burning in hell. She screamed that I was a whore. When the deputies arrived, they didn't even ask questions this time. They saw the lighter fluid. They saw the scratches on Mark. They saw the violation of the RO. They handcuffed her face down in the dirt. As they dragged her to the cruiser, she wasn't crying anymore. She went catatonic. She just stared at Mark with dead, shark-like eyes. That stare will haunt me forever. The aftermath of the climax. Linda is back in jail. No bail this time. She is facing attempted arson, assault, battery, and multiple counts of violating a protective order, on top of the fraud charges. Tyler is still in jail, singing like a canary. Mark and I are staying at the farmhouse because we are terrified she will somehow hire someone to finish the job, even from behind bars. Yesterday, Mark went to the barn. He found an old photo album in the hayloft that Linda hadn't managed to destroy. It was pictures of him and Nana Rose when he was a kid. He sat on a hay bale and wept for an hour. Not for his mother, but for the childhood he realized he never actually had. We have a long road of legal battles ahead, but the monster is in a cage. The silence out here on the farm is beautiful, but it feels fragile. I will update you one last time when the dust has truly settled and sentencing is over. Time passed since last update, 1 year and 2 months. I am writing this from the back porch of Nana Rose's farmhouse. The sun is just coming up over the orchard, and the air smells like coffee and damp earth. It is quiet. Finally, truly quiet. It has been a long time since I posted. I'm sorry to leave you all hanging, but we needed to disappear. We needed to heal. The legal battle that followed my last update was a marathon of misery, but we have reached the finish line. Buckle up. This is how the story of Linda and Tyler ends. After Linda was arrested for the attempted arson and assault, the state took over. Because the fraud involved forging federal documents and mail theft, the charges piled up like snow in a blizzard. We didn't even have to sue her civilly. The criminal court did all the heavy lifting. The trials. Tyler's trial was first, or rather his plea hearing. Tyler, true to form, crumbled.
He took a plea deal that involved testifying against his mother in exchange for leniency. He stood up in court wearing an ill-fitting suit and admitted to everything. The forgery, the theft, the manipulation. He admitted that Linda had coached him on how to mimic Nana Rose's shaky handwriting. He looked at Mark exactly once. He had tears in his eyes, but they were tears of self-pity, not remorse. "Mister, you are a grown man. Blaming your mother does not absolve you of your greed." Tyler got 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and a permanent felony record that will follow him for the rest of his life. He is currently working at a car wash 2 towns over. He tried to text Mark once, asking for money for rent. Mark changed his number the same day. Now, Linda. Oh, Linda. Her trial was a circus. A legitimate 3-ring circus. She fired 4 public defenders. 4. She claimed they were all conspiring with her daughter-in-law, me. Eventually, she decided to represent herself. For those of you who work in law, you know that a pro se litigant who is also a narcissist is the most painful thing to witness. She cross-examined Mark for 3 hours. She didn't ask legal questions, she just berated him. "Mark, isn't it true that you were always a difficult child? Isn't it true that you resented your brother because he was better looking than you? Isn't it true that Nana Rose was senile and didn't know what she was signing?" Mark was incredible. He sat in the witness stand, hands folded, voice steady. He had been in therapy twice a week for 6 months by this point. "No, Linda," he said. He didn't call her mom, just Linda. "Nana Rose was of sound mind. You were just greedy." The jury hated her. The judge despised her. The smoking gun was the video footage from the police dashcam the night of the barn incident, combined with the forensic accounting of her stealing Nana's money. The verdict came back in 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Attempted arson, aggravated assault, grand larceny, elder abuse, fraud. Before sentencing, Linda was allowed to make a statement. She stood up, chains rattling, and looked directly at the gallery where Mark and I were sitting. "I did everything for my boys. I am a martyr. My son has been poisoned by a Jezebel. God sees everything." The judge, a stern woman with 0 patience left, leaned over the bench. "Mrs., you are not a martyr. You are a predator who preyed on your own mother and your own children. You have shown 0 remorse. You are dangerous." The sentence: 12 years in state prison. No parole eligibility for at least 8. She was dragged out screaming. I wish I could say it felt good to watch. It didn't. It just felt heavy, like watching a rabid dog get put down. You know it's necessary, but it's still tragic that it came to this. The family fallout. Once the verdict was public, the flying monkeys came crawling back. Aunt Sarah, the one who called me a monster, sent a long, weeping email. She claimed Linda had tricked her and that she always knew Mark was a good boy. She asked if she could come visit the farm and make amends. We all know what that means. She heard the farm was worth millions and wanted back in the will. Mark didn't even reply. He printed the email, burned it in the fireplace, and poured himself a whiskey. "I don't have a family anymore," he told me that night. "Just you and Nana's ghost." But that wasn't entirely true. We have built a new family. Where we are now. We have spent the last year restoring the farmhouse. We stripped the ugly wallpaper Linda hated but Nana loved and painted the walls warm colors. We fixed the barn wall that was scorched. We found Nana Rose's diaries in the attic. Page after page of how much she worried about Mark, how she saw his kindness, how she was saving every penny to make sure he could escape Linda. Reading those diaries healed Mark in a way therapy couldn't. He realized he was never unloved. He was just loved by the right person, not the person who gave birth to him. We also made a decision about the money. We kept enough to fix the farm and secure our retirement. But the bulk of the Linda money, the cash she tried to steal, we started a scholarship fund for kids aging out of the foster care system who want to go to trade school. We figured Nana Rose would have liked that. The twist/ending note. I want to end this saga with one final detail. A few weeks ago, we got a letter from prison. It was from Linda. I didn't open it. I handed it to Mark. He looked at the envelope. He looked at the prison stamp. He looked at her jagged handwriting. He didn't open it either. We walked out to the compost heap behind the barn, the one where we throw the rotten vegetables and the scraps. Mark tore the envelope into tiny pieces, unopened, and scattered them over the pile of decaying trash. "Fertilizer," he said. "That's all she is now. Fertilizer for something better." And then, he took my hand and we went inside to have dinner. Thank you, Reddit, for listening to us when we were scared, for telling us to get a lawyer, and for validating that we weren't crazy. You helped save our lives, and you helped save Nana Rose's legacy. We are safe, we are happy, and the farm is blooming.